It's been a while since Nintendo first announced their collaboration with Tecmo Koei in the form of Hyrule Warriors, a Zelda spin-off that looks to follow the template of the developer's Dynasty Warriors series. And while there hasn't been any new information concerning the game since, it hasn't stopped us from looking over all of your ideas on what secrets the game may hold. So of course it's time to break out the old analysis machine with some help from all of you to see what things you found, as well as alternate ideas on many elements from the trailer. Of course, be sure to watch our previous analysis of Hyrule Warriors, as we'll be referring back to it from time to time. With that said, let's see what ideas you guys came up with. One of the biggest debates about Hyrule Warriors is twofold. Will it be canon with the rest of the Zelda timeline, and if it is, where exactly would it take place? We believe that it will be considered canon thanks to multiple clues we found, but many have argued that it won't be part of the timeline since Iwata said it wouldn't in the Nintendo Direct announcement. But that's not quite right. He said it wouldn't be part of the core series, meaning it's a spin-off. That doesn't mean it can't be canon though.
The trailer you just saw is not the next installment of Nintendo's core The Legend of Zelda series, but it is an all-new game for Wii U.
There are many spin-offs that are still in canon with their core series, it's just a different style taken. We believe that's the case here. So if it is canon, where would it be placed? Well, we first thought that the game may take place during the Sealing War before A Link to the Past, where Ganon was sealed away by the sages and the Hylian Knights. But you guys have plenty of other ideas as well. The most common suggestion was that the game actually takes place before Skyward Sword. As Bryson Morris pointed out, the Link featured in Hyrule Warriors is incredibly similar to the one found in the prequel manga of Hyrule Historia. This is some solid evidence, but there are also a few problems, namely that Hyrule didn't exist before Skyward Sword, which contradicts the tentative title of the game. Others suggested that the game actually takes place before Ocarina of Time during what's known as the Unification War. That war claimed the life of Link's mother in Ocarina of Time and was alluded to by the Great Deku Tree. Moshugani suggests that this point in the timeline would have many of the familiar locations as well as various armies fighting it out for control. But for us, the most convincing suggestion is that Hyrule Warriors takes place after Skyward Sword and before the Minish Cap. StarGold826 remembered that the Minish Cap tells of a time before that game when Hyrule was constantly being attacked by monsters. The one who defended the people was the hero of men, who wielded the Picori blade. It's impossible to tell how much time has passed between Skyward Sword and the Minish Cap, but the designs of enemies suggest that Hyrule Warriors is closer to Skyward Sword, as MudKP971 points out. He also goes on to say that this could be a time where Hyrule is still trying to be established and is under constant assault by monsters, which would tie in with the Minish Cap. But the most interesting evidence comes from Ragnarok X on NeoGAF. He noted that Link's shield has a symbol that is very similar to the one found on the outer ring of the Gate of Time. It actually resembles a clock with the 12 symbols on the outside, and it's the symbol in the place of the number 3 that appears on the shield. It is much closer to this design than our suggestion that it could be the sign of Nehru. But if this is the case, then what is the significance of placing it on the shield? We're honestly not sure. He goes on to point out that the building to the right of the castle doesn't exactly resemble the Temple of Time, something we suggested but noted the flimsiness of the evidence. Instead, it could be the Temple of Hylia on top of which the Temple of Time was built. But even he knows that this could just be a coincidence since there's another building that looks just like it on the left side. So what does this all mean? Well, if the game is canon, it seems likely that it will take place sometime between Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time, though it's incredibly difficult to say on which side of the Minish Cap it will fall on. If it's after Minish Cap, then the sword Link wields is definitely the Master Sword, but if it's before, then that may be the Picori blade, which also looked very similar to the Master Sword. Like many things concerning Zelda's timeline, it's still a mystery. But you guys found more than just story elements hidden in the trailer. There were a lot of ideas on who the two mystery characters actually were. Tilaun Su and many others are almost positive that the ornately dressed soldier is actually Impa from her Skyward Sword appearance. The resemblance is certainly uncanny, though it looks like she's had a slight costume change like Link if that really is her. It may be, as Lakewood Ninja suggests, just an ordinary member of the Sheikah. The blue-haired girl was a lot harder to identify, but many of you noted that she looks a lot like Nehru from Oracle of Ages. Perhaps the goddess took on a human form for this particular war, and she is known as an Oracle of Time, which ties into the time motif on Link's shield. Either way, Bowen Savant believes these two characters are possibly lieutenants since the core of the game is taking pages from Dynasty Warriors. The crystals were also a point of debate amongst everyone. Lucas Freeman believed that they merely function as the switches that often appear in Zelda games. He points out how the majority of the ones in the trailer were near a door or something else that may function. Switching from red to blue would mean that they've been activated. But Black Rose War and New Derek WST3 believe that the crystals' origins are linked more to the Dynasty Warriors series. They may just be visual indicators of which base camps you and your enemies have control of. Red being the enemy, blue being you, and potentially yellow if there was a third side. Then there's the mystery bar to the left, which you guys have plenty of guesses about. iCousins thinks it could simply be a magic bar like in past Zelda games, while the Mike5125 thinks it could be a meter for Link's shield strength. It's worth noting, like Video FED did, that this meter is actually empty while Link is fighting the Lizalfos. Is that why he's dodging the flame attack rather than using a shield? Or could it be the special gauge from Dynasty Warriors known as the Muso gauge, as Lightning Bro suggests? This allows the character to use special attacks, though we believe that gauge is actually the one below Link's health, as we see it acting just like the Muso gauge in the trailer. Bordan has another theory. Maybe it's the morale indicator. In Dynasty Warriors, the meter would always start low, such as when Link is fighting the Lizalfos. But as he takes control of the battlefield, it fills up, allowing his allies to fight harder. It may even decrease when certain enemies arrive, such as the Dodongo. Okay, we're almost done here, but there are still a few things that you guys pointed out. First up is Eliscore, noting that we've never seen the fire rod used in a 3D Zelda before. Perhaps we could see some other lesser seen items and weapons return in a more fantastic fashion. Then there's Matthew Height, who noted just how much height Link achieved. Maybe his combos go higher because the scarf he's wearing is actually the Rock's cape. Shizer and many others also pointed out that the scarf has the Hylian crest emblazoned on the very bottom. Next up is Lego Hobbit Boy, who points out that there's a green jar in the background during the Lizalfos fight. Could it hold items that refill Link's ammunition or health? Or is it connected in some way to the green gauge? Z. Carlson also points out that there's a barrier around the gate in the background while Link is using the fire rod. The barrier seems somewhat similar to the ones found in Twilight Princess, but maybe it's just there until you defeat all the enemies and reunite with Zelda. Finally, Dr. Sploosh is positive this game won't feature any of the motion controls found in Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, or the Nintendo Land Battle Quest minigame. In all those games, Link was right-handed, but here in Hyrule Warriors, he's once again left-handed. Oh, but one more thing we forgot to mention. At the end of the trailer, Link reveals the tentative name by opening a chest. Does this indicate that there will be a bit more exploring than one would expect from a Dynasty Warriors type game? Maybe some of the battlefields take place across typical Zelda dungeons. Could this be how he finds new weapons, or is there something else to find? And that's all the theories and clues you guys could find in the debut Hyrule Warriors trailer. The game is full of mystery and we'll be there to analyze it with your help whenever any new information is released. If you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain. Thanks for watching and be sure to stay tuned for more on Hyrule Warriors and other things gaming too.